Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Ise Anthony Ugo. Ise, it's always a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you very much.
Our topic for discussion this afternoon, is implications of crude oil discovery in the north. That is a cheering news. Yes, after decades of searching, Nigeria is actually flagging up is the exploration of oil in the north. President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday commissioned exploration of crude oil from the Kolmani River Oil Wells in northeastern Nigeria. This historic discovery has expanded Nigeria's frontiers and holds the potential of improving the country's energy and financial resources. This is what we are going to be discussing on today's energy focus. I must say that is a cheering news for Nigeria.
Yes, of course. It's a very cheering news. You know, it's history being made after 63 years after the first drilling in Oloibiri in Bayelsa, present-day Bayelsa State. And then, you know, subsequently we've had oil discovered in other parts, other states of the country, but mainly in the south. And so, despite huge resources that have been pumped into prospecting for oil in the north, there wasn't any significant find or discovery until now. And the flagging off of the Kolmani River Oil Wells, straddling Gombe and Bauchi states, is a major boost for the country, especially for the northern part of the country.
That is a good one. And the federal government, through the President Muhammadu Buhari, did say that it's going to take about $3 billion investment in the region.
$3 billion investment,
which will also consist of a refinery.
Yes, the project is an integrated development project, which comprises upstream production, oil refining, power generation, fertilizer, and it promises a huge benefit to the entire country. Now, if we want to look at it, further breaking it down, it's the new discovery is to add 1 billion barrels of crude oil to Nigeria's reserves, and then 500 billion cubic feet of gas to what we already have in the country. So further boosting Nigeria's national reserves of the crude oil and gas that we have. And then beyond this, the integrated plan of the Kolmani project is going to encompass refining of this, an initial of 120 barrels crude oil per day, refining.
Okay, 120?
Yes, 120,000 barrels per day, and then it's going to have an integrated 2,500 metric tons of fertilizer per day, 300 megawatts of electricity generation. So it's not just about the crude now.
Alone,
it's also about the gas.
Okay, it's all
encompassing. A huge project that, if properly implemented, will mean a very positive move for Nigeria in terms of energy security, in terms of enhancing the revenue prospects of that region.
Okay. Now, I want to find out this Kolmani River Oil this Kolmani River Oil Wells, Kolmani project. Is it local? Is it a local investment?
The investment actually comprises both um, local and international, though it was not broken down.
Many people are accused.
Yes, it was not broken down into the real percentages. But of course, the federal government have been part of it. And then there are other companies that are involved in it as uh, a consortium. The new Nigerian development company is NNDC is part of it, and then the NNPC is also part of it as a joint venture. So all of these are the financing is coming from all these different components,
Okay.
depending on the product, the sharing agreements that they've had on the two leases.
Now, talking about this oil exploration, this is coming at a time that like the last time we talked about harnessing the huge reserves of gas in the Niger Delta, and now we are starting off on that clean note, starting with also including the gas in these Kolmani oil wells.
Yeah.
So, how will you relate it to what is happening now?
Yes, like we've brought up in this program, in the past programs, we see it that time is running out.
Exactly.
Actually, because globally, you see the global community
They're moving away from
they're moving
fossils.
away from fossil fuels, and then Nigeria is just discovering, made another significant discovery of about as much as 1 billion barrels in reserves, and then 500 billion cubic feet of gas. So it means that Nigeria actually has to make haste. This, more so when you put it beside the energy deficiency in the country, both in terms of electricity, both in terms of the products to use. So it means that a lot needs to be done, and it needs to be done fast,
Urgently.
urgently. Right now, with this, the plan of the development, the integrated development plan, is one that can significantly boost our in-country refining capacity. Because right now, Nigeria still exports refined products.
Yes.
And by the landlocked nature of this the Kolmani project, it's not like in the south where there are seaports, which makes it easy for exporting this. So it's something that would require enough capacity to be put in place whereby this crude can be processed within the country and used. And one of the issues that has been
Will you see that as a disadvantage now? Because you just talked about the north, this Kolmani oil reserve being a landlocked area as compared to the Niger Delta, so it cannot be easily imported.
Of course, these are all the issues that the companies
are going to look into.
have looked into in the development of the integrated plan of the Kolmani project, to ensure that because if you're going to look at it majorly as export, it means they will begin to construct pipelines, huge pipelines that will take it all the way out from the land into the nearest seaport, and then for it to be transported. But then, because of the in dealing with that gives rise to the whole essence of the integrated nature, whereby a refinery
Okay.
will be set up, um, refinery for petroleum and all the attendant products that come with it, the white products, and then gas processing, and then the electricity generation, as well as the fertilizer, so that the focus here is not actually
For
on
export.
for export,
Okay.
but in producing the products that Nigeria needs. And then, right now, because most of the wells have been in the south, and then it has the cost of transporting, the logistics involved in getting those things from the south to the north has always been very, very huge, significant. And this has been a huge burden also on government, because especially for petrol, because of the need to regulate the price and ensure that Nigerians,
equitable.
yes, Nigerians get the benefit for this product that we actually have in abundance within the country. The Nigerian government have been forced to subsidize the product, and so that everybody can have it on at the same price. But even at that, we've not seen that happening, despite crude oil subsidy, petroleum subsidy that is in place. It's never been the same, because outside of Lagos and Port Harcourt, Abuja, most of the other states, especially the states in the north, they've always had petrol sold at prices that are far above what is sold in these three locations that I've mentioned, which have easier access to the product. While crude was selling petrol was selling for like 140, it has always been in the neighborhood of like 200 and thereabout, but much more at the premium being much higher than what we have in the south and then in the west. So this now is going to bridge that gap.
That's a good one.
Yes, bridge the gap in ensuring that the product is refined there, so there won't be, and even when with the um Kaduna refinery,
Yes, that has
when
been there.
that has been there, crude for that crude for that refinery had to be channeled from the south. So even if it would have been difficult for it to perform maximally, especially with the spate of crude oil theft, pipeline vandalism and the rest, and then having to transport the crude all the way from the south to the north for the refining to take place.
Yes, and I did hear that there were reports that it has not really been doing much of refining since it was established.
Yeah, many of the
Refinery.
in fact, all the state-owned refineries have been having these issues. Though the ones in the south, the problem wouldn't have been much of access to crude oil.
So it's in a nutshell, would you say that now the exploration of these Kolmani oil reserves would be like an answer to Nigeria's oil, or when you talk about oil, I meant fuel and all the attendant issues that come with it, is answer to our prayers?
When you look at it at a time that energy transition is
No, I'm
heavily-
looking at it now on talking about consumption, internal consumption, because you just mentioned that yes, it's going to take care of all those states that were actually too far and they were paying higher than the normal fuel pump. So,
Yeah, it's actually a good thing when you look at it that way, in the area of easier access to
Yes.
products
products
in the northern
at
part.
the end of the day, we'll have it cheaper.
Yes, at that with that, when the project is fully operational, it's going to be a big boost for the availability of products in that region, because not only would they be will the product be coming from there? It will make it, they will be able to transport it cheaper, and they also be able to get it across their regions faster than we've had so far.
So we are going on the break. When we come back, we have so much to talk about this new exploration of crude in Kolmani Oil Reserves. Don't go away, you are stay tuned for more.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Welcome back. In case you are just tuning in, this is Energy Focus on Money Radio, reaching you on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Obebo, and with me in the studio, as you can see, is an in-house analyst, the group business editor of Leadership newspaper, Inse Anthony Uko. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program. We are still on our topic discussion, the discovery of Kolmani oil reserves in the northern eastern Nigeria. And what does it entail for the country? What is the implications? What are the, especially on our finances, now that Nigeria will be complaining of oil crude thefts right in the Niger Delta, and now we have a new discovery in the north. Instead, would that boost our finances? Even though it's not going to be for export, as you just pointed out.
Well, let's look overall at what this portends.
Yes, what does it portend?
What does it portend? The benefits for Nigeria. Number one, starting from job creation. Look at the magnitude of the integrated projects, the Kolmani integrated projects. 120,000 barrels of crude oil production per day. 300
No, 127.
megawatts.
Sorry, before you continue, I just want to know what actually is the barrel per day that Nigerian exports for the Niger Delta?
Okay.
What is our quota?
Yes, Nigeria has a quota of 1.8 million barrels per day.
And we have
but when we're talking of refining capacity here, we're talking about the refining capacity, not what is not the crude itself that is being exported. So we're looking at, in the first phase, 120 barrels per day capacity. A gas processing 120,000 barrels, sorry. A gas processing plant of up to 500 million standard cubic feet. Right now, what is being processed is about 1 million.
Okay.
And that's why, so it means that about half
of it
can be produced within the plan of this integrated Kolmani project. And then a power plant of up to 300 megawatts capacity per day, and then a fertilizer plant of 2,500 tons per day. So this is a huge project. And you can imagine the magnitude of employment that this would generate. First, a refinery, let's say that the bulk of the exploration of the crude, let's say that maybe we have more of expatriates in that in that field, but we'll still have a number of Nigerians
that are going to be
that
employed.
are going to be employed there. Then when you step away from there, we look at the refineries, the gas plants, the power plants, and then the fertilizer plants. All of these are developments that will bring about huge employment. While they've not been able to, encapsulate this into absolute numbers of the people that will be employed, the employment it will generate. But I tell you that in terms of direct employment and then the indirect employment that it will generate, it will be huge. And for a sector that has been reading with the high level of insecurity, especially for the youth, mainly because and it's been that huge one of the major reasons for this insecurity has been unemployment. Because like it said, the idle mind is the devil's workshop. But whereby there's stable employment where
engaged.
Yes, where people are productively engaged on a daily basis, it leaves little room for them to begin to come up with all manners of vices, and then it's going to bring about a decline in the.
I also want you to also talk about the ripple effect of the fertilizer on this zone that is also an agrarian
Yes,
region.
of course. Right now, there's still so much fertilizer that is needed in the country that Nigeria still imports a lot of it, and because of that, it comes at very exorbitant prices, whereby most of the farmers cannot even afford it. The federal government subsidized, and even right now, they're not really able to subsidize it that much because of the huge burden of subsidy and the dwindling government revenues. But with this now being produced there, it means it will be more readily available. And over time, we'll begin to see the cost of this dropping because it doesn't require so much foreign exchange for it to be brought in. So it's a good one on the level of job creation, and then on the level of finances for both for that region and then for the country. It's going to be a boost. Then we look at it also generally, it will bring development. Think about the beside this, the supporting industries that will spring up as a result of having this. When electricity is constant, there will be so many other small and medium scale businesses that will spring up. When all this production is going on, the food industry will thrive because those people would have to eat. People will cook the food. People will a lot of the transportation, a lot of economic activities within that are not directly linked to these plants, but are needed. The indirect. So it's going to be a very big boost. The area will become vibrant, and then the socio-economic impact will be great.
And do you see it as able to at least, if not eliminate, but reduce insecurity or criminality in that zone to at least to a minimal level?
Yeah, we've already talked about the idle mind, and when these projects are ongoing and they are able to engage a lot of the youth. Somebody would not come and it's when someone is
You
idle.
will no longer be brainwashed.
Yes, they'll just use a little cash inducement given to them, and where they don't have, and they readily go out to do whatever is being asked of them. But when they are being positively and productively engaged, they are earning income in a stable manner. There will be a limit to which to how much they can be influenced to into criminal activities.
Thank you so much. Now, let's look at what is the time frame for this gigantic project.
While they've not come up with a definite time frame for this, but of course, all the stakeholders have hinged on the need for speed on it, because especially in view of the global energy transition.
Okay.
So it means that there isn't much time. Making a discovery and then going back to sit, relax, means that that's recipe for disaster. Because at the end of the day, huge investments have been committed. So far, $3 billion, and much more of that is still required. So you would not say that, and the people who are going to bring in this investment, they will be looking at how fast can this thing be developed, so that they would be able to recoup their investment before the final clamp down on investment in fossil fuels. So while the authorities have now actually come up with a timeline, I know that for them it is something of it's something that they will handle urgently in view of the global trend.
But you just mentioned the global clampdown on the fossil fuels. So is Nigeria, or this project, are we not insulated from it?
No, Nigeria is not insulated. However, at the COP26, President Muhammadu Buhari signed to 2060.
2060. Okay, that is really
2060.
that's
So
really
that is still
long
that
way.
for Nigeria. So let's say that Nigeria, this project is just coming up. There's 38
Yes,
years
remaining
for
project to
the project to kick off, and then for the project to make the most of impact, and then position Nigeria, develop the sector very well for it to be able to have a viable, renewable sector before the final clampdown.
when it climb down.
Yes.
Well, unfortunately, we don't have much time now. But before we go, we just want to, because I would have asked, not that we have just 38 years to go. What happened to the gas oil reserves in the Niger Delta? Because we talked about the Niger Delta having about 88 years.
The country generally,
The
total,
including this Kolmani.
of course, with Kolmani now,
Mm.
it will increase. Yes,
that's what I'm
because
saying.
the reserve, the total reserves has now been increased by 500 billion cubic feet of gas.
Yes.
So that means that the
huge.
timeline will also
So
increase.
what is going to happen to those ones now, to harness it, also for exploration too?
Well, everyone have been every fingers on
Canvassing
deck
for-
all around, canvassing for investment.
Okay.
And with many companies are trying to be careful of channeling their resources into fossil related oil energy. So with that, it's been a restraint, a kind of constraint for Nigeria. Well, it's doing all it can. I believe that as the transition modalities are being worked out, we just have to wait and see what happens. But if Western countries are going back to coal, I believe that it will not be so easy to do away with gas
Exactly.
at the end of the day. But we just keep our fingers
That's
crossed and see
Who knows?
what of
When
how
that
it
38 years,
unfolds.
you could still also
Yes,
move it
how
forward.
it yes, of course.
Thank you so much, Isa, for your presence today and Energy Focus, reaching you on Leadership Television. It's always a pleasure to have you on the
Thank
program.
you.
I look forward to seeing you next week, same time, same station. Where we are this well quality day. I'm Winifred. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.